Waiting to come up. Here we are. There we are. Okay, let's hit the music and let's get started here. Can you hear it? You can
Oh,
dance with me.
so you wanna be a
We
cool
are cool kids.
hanging with the
Hanging with the
insect,
insect.
looking real
Looking real. Cool and fine.
casting you
We're not casting a fakie net. We're the real
so
deal.
you wanna be
Hey, come into the drum roll. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. Thank you very much to Serge Hoffman, who wrote the music and sings my lyrics. I'm Bonnie D, and I have a wonderful brand new friend. I think he's my new bestie. Nobody out there get excited or be jealous. You can be a bestie too. It's Pharns G. It took me years to learn to pronounce his name. Pharns, welcome to Cool Dude. You and I got sidetracked with an hour of conversation before we even started. How are you? How are you?
Great, doing great, especially hanging out with you for an hour before we started recording. Wow, just so much fun hanging out with you, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You're very sweet. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. You are one of, I have a club now. You're called an official Bonnie D's Cool Dude. It's official, and I haven't sent out badges or certificates or anything, but you have your own banner that I sent you, so you know it's good. I'm looking, we're live streaming. Wave hello to LinkedIn, wave hello to Facebook twice, wave hello to YouTube, wave hello to the world. There we are. We don't have any viewers, but they'll find us. Don't worry. So, Founts, I wrote with my friend Sylvia Speed, my virtual assistant. I wrote a little introduction for you. It's actually not that little. It's about 150 lines, not quite that many. And I hope you enjoy it. So let me start, excuse me here, and let's get started. And then we'll talk about your cool dude music, and we'll talk about some wacky stories, and we'll find out all kinds of interesting things about you. So here we go. You know us well, we think. Bonnie D and Founts G too. Seasoned in life, and we love what we do. From LinkedIn's halls and social's embrace, we love sharing our insights in our savvy people space. That's where we are. Excuse me. Now on We Dish, we're here to play, lightening up life in our uniquely fresh way. Welcoming Founts G, a cool dude I'm proud to call my guest and my friend, but it doesn't rhyme yet. Here's my rhyming intro, then he'll tell us the rest. The story of Founts, a lifetime of compassion and innovations. When Bonnie D speaks with Founts, she applauds his life's creations. Here we go. From Boston's heart, where dreams ignite, a son of Haiti, bold and bright, first born with a guiding hand in a home where hard work took its stand. To southern shores his family came, where grit and love would shape his name. A curious mind, both tech and art, with music's rhythm in his heart. At 5, the piano's keys he played, a love for sound that's never swayed. Teenage years in jazz and speech, with theater's light within his reach. A Timex Sinclair sparked his quest for tech and code. His mind was obsessed. From Commodore to Apple Spark, a journey blending light and dark. The Air Force called. He took to the sky to heal, to serve, to fly on high, with honor, heart, and hands so sure. He's carried hope, a life's allure. From saving lives to Disney's. How am I doing so far? Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm only half done. Not even. From saving lives to Disney's stage, where sound and magic filled each page. Then drones appeared, their flight so free. A future bright with artistry. Founts a mentor, leader, mind so keen. In UAVs, he's built a dream. With skill, precision, mission true. By drone, Founts brings new hope to view. USOG, his vision grand, a company built by his steady hand, with drones that soar to heal and give, a bold new way to help lives live. By drone we deliver, his mission states, to bring new hope through sky-bound gates. With vector tech he clears the way for safer lives and brighter days. Yet found still he learns he won't stand still. Cyber frontiers testing his skill, a master's quest in fields so vast to guard the future and hold it fast. From medicine to circuits tight, Founts blends his worlds with sharp insight. A father, a grandpa, a mentor true, who lifts up others and helps them too. With every role, Founts's purpose is clear, a world improved year after year. Founts Genesee, his story tells of dreams, family, and service where he dwells.
That was amazing. You have to send that to me. That was
I'm going to send you the clip. I don't send the text, I send the clip of what we do. So let me finish up. We're here on We Dish, chatting on life's score, culture, music, food, and oh, so much more. Join us live or on demand, day or night. We won't be here, but you can find us. Enjoy our dishing with shared delight. Meet us for real in our live streaming glow. Comments are welcome. Just play nice. We know who you are, you know? We Dish, two saucy dame and cool dude, too. Bonnie D and Pharns G, dishing on life's fun. Pour vous for you in French. Valence, how'd I do? You good?
so that was awesome. That was awesome. I couldn't I no, I couldn't say it any better myself.
Did I leave anything out?
Well, no, you pretty much nailed everything. Wow, that was cool. That was really cool.
I'm glad. That's my gift to you to say thank you for becoming one of my official cool dudes. I'm happy to welcome you. So before we get too mushy here, why don't we go into the music? So I asked you to come up with three or more cool dude songs. We're not going to play them, but you're welcome to sing them. What defines you, describes you, motivates you, inspires you in music? Fouts, talk to me.
Wow. I think it's the emotion of it, the emotion of music, the ability to tell stories, the ability to lift your not just yourself but others up. And you're a musician and I'm a musician, and just it resonates every part of your being, and nothing truly has to be spoken. It is an energy, it's a feeling. One of my favorite genres is smooth jazz. You can elicit almost every emotion. Playing piano, you could elicit pretty much almost every emotion. Growing up as a kid, playing piano, we would literally uh, go to nursing homes and play for elderly folks, and just playing the simplest songs like "You Are My Sunshine." You have a room full of elderly people that were wheeled in, walked in, shuffled in, slumped over, depressed, and you just play "You Are My Sunshine." Everybody lights up, everybody's clapping, everybody's moving, and it's just like the greatest thing on earth. And so one of the songs I picked, and it's not in English, it's in Haitian Creole. It's called Zoukla. Zoukla, c'est le médicament de la nuit. And so basically the meaning of the song is basically, and Zouk is a music genre.
Hmm.
And part of the song says, "Hey, I'm sick, I'm sick. Well, all I have is this Zouk and the Zouk music, and it's very live and lively and upbeat. And so, hey, the medicine to all my woes and whatever is this music. That's kind
Mm.
of what the song's about, which is really cool. I love it. And because truly, just listening to music, you could be in a bad mood, put on your favorite song. Guess what?
Hmm.
Your mood changes.
That's
Uh,
it.
yeah, you want to focus and study. For me, it's classical music. I love, classical music. I started playing piano as a classical pianist,
Me too.
right? That's where
Yep.
we started back in the day. Now you start
Yep.
in YouTube with whatever. It's neither here nor there. It's just the way I learned it,
Hmm.
which is awesome. So that's one of my favorite songs, Zoukla. Um, there's another song which is more contemporary. More people would probably know this. Just Fine by Mary J. Blige. Do you know the song?
No, but I'm going to go find it after we're done.
Love this one. It's upbeat, really cool, fun, inspirational kind of song.
Hmm.
And basically, it's about, hey, things happen in life, but I can look at myself in the mirror and go, hey, you know what? Everything's gonna be just fine. You
I
know,
like that.
kind of inspiring myself to do good. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get the best out of life. Y- Stuff happens, and
Yeah.
stuff does happen.
We were talking about that for an hour. Yeah, stuff has happened, will happen, did happen.
It's
Yes.
gonna.
Give me a
Um,
couple more songs you really like.
of course, one of my favorites, Three Little Birds, Bob
Oh
Marley.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Is This Love? I mean, the classics. My family's from the Caribbean, so we have that Caribbean chill vibe.
Mm. Yep.
Hardworking, but when we chill, we chill. Um, love the Motown classics, especially, some of my Marvin Gaye
Uh,
um, going on.
yep.
It seems
Oh,
appropriate from
that's a
back then.
classic.
In the future, it's one of those timeless classics,
Yep.
you know. And I love my Luther Vandross, all his works. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then, oh, got to go back to one of my favorites, Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, just love that vibe. Because
Yep.
music just it just moves you. Whatever, however you want to express yourself. And just yeah. So I could list the name of songs all day long. Well, so if I'm in a conversation, this has happened quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, something happens, and then break out into song that correlates to whatever you're talking.
You want to sing something for me now? Do you have anything on your mind?
Good, I'm good. I'm good right now. It probably just break out somehow, you know.
Feel welcome to. By the way, what you're talking about is interesting. I hadn't mentioned this to anybody, but I watch a lot of French detective procedurals led by very strong women detectives or judges. La femme, the juge est une femme, Candice Renoir, Alice Nevers, all tandem, all kinds of shows. And one of the shows has in the introduction, you can skip the intro after you've watched it a while, but in the introduction, it has a song that is so moving and it's just background music. There are no words to it. And it makes me sad every time I hear it. So I hit skip the intro because I don't, I start to cry. Sometimes there's just music that's picked for a TV backgrounder in the intro, Founts, that just has such an emotion to it. There are shows that have songs with words in the intro that just absolutely grab me and they remind me of a lost romance or of
Uh,
another time in my life, and I will sit there and cry.
well, I mean, I can hear a song back from my youth or whatever, and the minute I hear that song, I'm literally back in that moment.
It transports us, right? It
Yeah,
transports us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot people are into rhythm, some people are into the lyrics. Um, I'm into the rhythm and the sonic palette of a song.
Mm.
I'm in
What is a sonic palette? I've never heard that term.
the different textures that make up the music. It's like listening to an orchestra where you can hear the woodwinds over here, you can hear
Mm-hmm.
the double bass, the cellos, and however you can hear it together as a whole orchestra, or you can pick out each individual instrument,
Hmm.
depending on how critically you're listening to the music. And for me, that sonic landscape is what draws me to music and layering and how
Mm-hmm.
is that a diminished chord? Is that a what is that?
Wow, that's deep. I like that. Very, very interesting. Thank you for bringing up about the emotional impact of music. I agree. And by the way, I was the drummer, co-drummer, and then the drummer in a 12-piece Motown band when I lived in Durham, North Carolina.
Why am
And
I not surprised?
we just, thank you. Red sticks, red Ludwig set, and red boots. And I was the MC as well. It was a lot of fun, and we had four singers, two men, two women, and we put on shows for the community, and we prepared for months and months and months with rehearsals. We did a pretty standard. I think we had 17 songs we did in two breaks, and then I had my own Latin band called the Blueberry Jam, and we performed in the breaks in between, and it was just so much fun. So I'm missing being in a band, but this year I'm gonna find a couple of musicians who want to play my kind of music, no matter
Well,
what I have to do.
I got to get hats off to you. I can't play drum kit to save my life.
Well, it was funny. I have a friend who was playing, somebody I knew from New York, and she started drum lessons, and she was sending me her videos, and I said that sounds really interesting because I played piano for years and I played flute. I was the girl accompanist for the girls' chorus at Bayside High School in New York. I won't tell you what year or what millennium. And then I played the flute in the orchestra, and um, I never thought about the drums really. I never had a kid. I never thought. And then my friend said she was playing, and I thought I could do that too. So I I called up a School of Rock. They had a whole bunch of them near Durham and Cary, North Carolina. And I said, "You give a free 30-minute lesson in any instrument we're curious about?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Sign me up for a drum lesson." So I went in and I sat there, and the teacher said, "You do this with your left foot, this with your right foot, hold this to hold that." They gave me the sticks and the headset and all that. And he played music. And I said, "Oh my God, sign me up." And he said, "Okay." So I started weekly drum lessons. And after 3 weeks, I said, "Well, what am I going to do with this?" So I went to Sam Goody, one of the big music stores, Guitar Center, and I bought a kid's kit because I didn't want to put a lot of money into it, set it up in an empty bedroom in my house. And I went back to lessons the next week and I said, "Well, what am I going to do with this? Why am I bothering? Playing at home, that's really fun, but nobody hears it." And I said, "What do you got for me?" And they said, "Well, we have an adult band and we need a drummer." So I signed up for the band. And the next Monday night, I was traveling in rain and snow on 3 highways to get there at night and coming home at 11 o'clock at night. And I joined the band and they said to me, "We have a concert at Motorco in downtown Durham in 5 weeks. You're going to be the drummer for this second adult band." I said, "Seriously?" And they said, "Well, these are the songs we've got." And one of them was Dream On by Aerosmith,
Yeah.
and it had a lot of endings to it. And they said, "You're going to come up with an ending for the singers." I said, "But I just got here. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just learning which foot to touch." And they said, "Come back with an ending." And I said, "Well, can't one of the singers just raise her hand when they're ready to go to the last chorus?" And they said, "No, that's your job as the drummer." So I went home and I listened 100 times and I came back and I said, "Okay, on the third this or that, I'm going to raise my stick up." And that's when they go to the final round. And we did on stage at Motorco 4 weeks later. There were 17 bands starting from the 8-year-olds all the way up to the adults. It was my turn to go up. One of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. And I came back and people said, "Oh, you were so good. How you been playing?" And I said, "6 weeks." And that started, and then I started going to open mics in taverns in Cary and Durham, and I became known around as the drummer who wore a dress and red boots and lipstick because nobody else dressed up in these taverns. So Red's here. Anyway, enough about me. I just wanted to tell you, you just sparked that memory of that story. So yeah,
Glad I could spark that for you. Yeah.
thank you. I have some songs to share with you. Just I'll make this brief. For my Saucy Dame songs, I realized that Donna Summer, and I was a disco dancer
Hot
and a
stuff.
competitor. Hello. And people think it's Donna Summers. No, it's Summer singular, but it's Donna Summer apostrophe S for her, belonging to her. She works hard for the money. Hot
Mhm.
stuff, even though it was about streetwalkers. I have never been one of those, but still I've been called hot stuff. On the radio, is there anything more perfect than that? No More Tears, Enough is Enough. Last Dance. I don't dance anymore, but I loved it, and I Feel Love. That's my collection of name songs that I think define me as a saucy dame. What do you think, Val? Do you like those?
Yeah. You brought back a childhood memory.
Tell me what?
Hey, beep, beep, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So that song, House of
Beep beep, toot toot.
House of Champion, we had an entryway. The entryway was raised, and
Yes.
just a half step down, you go
Mm-hmm.
to the bedrooms and the family room to the kitchen. You half step down to the left. That was the formal dining, formal living room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the big stereo cabinet was. The stereo chest, basically.
Yeah.
Furniture, you open it up, you have the 8 tracks in there, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I know.
so my sisters and I have two younger sisters, made up this dance to Donna Summers. And toot toot, hey, like toot toot, hey, beep beep was part of the routine, and you totally brought that back to me when you mentioned the song.
Glad, I'm glad. And one more I forgot is Heaven Knows from MacArthur Park Suite. And I think the suite was 32 minutes or something like that. And my partner Michael and I competed in a Disco Hawaii contest as dancers, and we came in third. But it was just fascinating. We made our own costumes, and we came in opposite sides of the floor. I was about 97 pounds at the time, and he was not much more than about 135. Tall, skinny guy. I think his beard weighed more than he did, and came in from opposite sides. Came in, danced, and then he lifted me up over his head did the Saturday Night Fever spin, death drop to the floor. I had made a black satin skirt that tied at the waist, and that was it. And it spun open in a 360 circle of black satin around me with my black stockings and my little shoes, and a blue satin top and spaghetti straps, of course. And he twirled me over the floor, around 6 inches off the floor, never dropped me, and then stood me up. And then we went into our routine. We came in third, and we weren't told at the time that the couple that won, they owned their own dance studio, and they shouldn't have been in an amateur contest. But who's
You got
counting anyway? Anyway, yeah. So those are my that was one of my Donna summer memories, and means a lot. Those were back in the day, but they were good days. Yeah.
it was a staple in our house, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Now let's go to our next topic, your creativity superpower. And I think we're going to have a problem with this because I know how creative you are, and I think you have a lot of superpowers. You want to try and define a couple of them for me? Could you talk about that?
Superpower. Hmm. Um, I think a lot of it comes from reading, reading books from different genres.
Mm-hmm.
That gives I would say, my brain the elasticity to think in multiple directions, not inside of a box, not outside of a box, just to think and just to go for it. Um, there's a saying that I came up with for myself in life. It's dream, dare, do.
Mm-hmm.
Dream big dreams, dare to be great, do it. And by framing my world and my life in that sense, allows me to just think and just let it go. Don't be constrained by anything. What new information did I learn today? How does that connect to something that I learned from my past? And when I get the opportunity to just sit down and just doodle at the piano and just let my fingers wander, let my mind wander, then things come together. A lot of my ideas come in the middle of the night as I'm just laying in bed, not particularly thinking about anything, but then, oh, wait, that might work. Um, and so I think my superpower comes from wanting to take action, not just thinking about things, but actually taking action. My team in my company will just sit and go, what if we do that? And when we never say we can't do that, it's like, if we could do that, how would we do it?
Mm,
And I think it's the way I frame the question. It's like, not can I, it's how can I? I think that's what it would come down to is how I frame the questions to myself
hmm.
and the team. We don't put limits on anything. If we are going to do this, how would we do this? I think yeah, now that I really think about it, it's about how I frame the questions without putting limits.
Tell us about USOG. What does it stand for? When did you get into the drone field? I know you're studying cybersecurity now, but when did drones start to appeal to you as a career, as a company, as a business? When were you
Oh,
were you were you
wow.
born yet?
Uh, Interesting. Um, I think it's now, what, 7, 8 years ago
Mm-hmm.
that I was reading a magazine, a science magazine or something, and there's this thing, a drone. And it was just for hobbyists, just for hobbyists, you
Mm-hmm.
know, RC plane geeks. And I'm like, that's interesting. I ordered all the parts from China on the slow boat because literally it took 30 plus days for all the parts to get to me.
Wow.
Literally. It was before Amazon and any of that. And all it was is just a bulletin board form. I received all the parts and I'm reading through these forms, trying to figure out how to put this thing together. I put it together. Now I got to get it to fly. And then I have to do what they call the PID tuning, the tuning to make it fly stable. Had to do that manually before we have these flight computers now that are automatic. I did all this. And I think the first junky GoPro that ever came on the market, I put a camera on it and I got it up off the ground. And I was like, ah. And by the way, it flew like this. The footage is worse. And I just fell in love with it. What is it? This is cool.
How many years ago? You said before Amazon. So how many years ago was this?
Amazon might existed, but that was before they became as big. This is like 8 years ago.
8 years ago. It sounded like maybe it was longer ago. I have never asked you that question because on my other, when you're on my technology show, it's 3 minute sound bites and it's a brief, quick bio. I have, so you opened a magazine, saw a picture of a drone and said, do and dare and make it happen. What is this?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
as that drones came into existence, then DJI, the actual that you can buy, came into existence, and I'm like, this is cool. And at the time, I was working at Disney as an audio engineer, and part of that gig is you don't just do audio. The audio triggers opening and closing of stages, lighting,
Hmm.
Mickey's mouth moving, just all these things. So you have to learn how to integrate systems
Wow.
and understand those integrations. So you just don't only work on the audio, you help maintain the stage that opens and closes. You help maintain the lighting so you understand how all the systems interact. And so now I have that under my belt and I'm still doing drones. I take a course in Maricosta College about drones, and at that point in time, I'm on the five freeway. Well, actually, five parking lot, going nowhere. And
What city? Where's the five?
five freeway at the San Diego,
Thank you.
near
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay.
uh, Maricosta College down there. And I'm on the freeway, five freeway parking lot, going nowhere. And there's a LabQuest van next to me, which is, medical,
Hmm.
most, yeah, medical.
Yeah.
Uh, you get your blood drawn, what goes in the
Yeah.
van.
I've gone to LabQuest, yes, in New York.
And the van is sitting there next to me in this traffic, and I'm like, wow, 20% of those samples are going to go bad
Hmm.
because my prior experience in the military flying medevac.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wow, man, if I had a drone, by the time we go a mile, I could have a drone go from here, there, and back. Wait, I do have a drone. That would be a good business. Hey, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, I think, and that would be a good service. And so this takes place on the five freeway, and I'm finished. And this is the day before the last day of this cohort I'm in for drones.
Hmm.
I get home that night, and my brain's spinning and spinning, and I'm writing down, okay, all right, yeah, this could happen. What should I name this thing? Okay, Unmanned Systems Operations Group. Okay, great. Next day is graduation, and I have a plan in my head, and I have two instructors. And two of these instructors, one's a former Boeing engineer, other Navy SEAL, underwater stuff. And this class was ROV and UAV, remote operated vehicles, basically underwater drones, and UAVs, drones in the sky. Go to graduation, and then I invite my two instructors to lunch. Real nice restaurant in Oceanside, California. Oh, no, actually, it was in Carlsbad. And bring them to lunch. Gentlemen, here's my idea.
Hmm.
I do this, 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 and this. I'm like, yin? And luckily they said yes. And so I think the reason they said yes, I had demonstrated the ability to take the visual feed from a drone that was flying and the visual feed from a drone an ROV that was underwater at the same time, combined both feeds, and then I transmitted both feeds to a C2, a command and control at the local police department. And they challenged me to do it. And I'm like, I can make it happen. So I did. And that was earlier in the coursework. And so I believe that by being able to demonstrate that, they believed in me enough to say, okay, we're in. And so those are my business partners in USOG. And we've been together, was it yeah, close to 6 years now.
I'm
Um,
going to say that your superpower after this, and thank you for, it sounds corny, but thank you for sharing your story. I'm amazed. I'm delighted. I'm tickled. It's inspirational. I'm going to say that your superpower is two things, curiosity and commitment.
Yeah, yeah,
You
I'm
said it was reading. Well, you had to be curious to be reading something. You have to be curious about what's on that page or what's in that podcast or what's in that document or what's in that digital file. I'm curious about it. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I'll have fun. Maybe I'll laugh. Maybe I'll cry. Something has to say I'm getting out of my space and going into the space of something somebody wrote or published. And then you said, I have an idea. I'm committed to going ahead with that idea, even though you really weren't sure. You knew in your mind. I think you have an innovation gene somewhere in your DNA. It's that curiosity. All right, curiosity, courage, and commitment. And on my Monday night Read My Lips Cool Conversations with Creators radio show, we talk about the definitions of creativity. And I've had people say curious creativity, courageous creativity, committed. You've got all three. You've got the curiosity, you've got the courage, and you've got the commitment. Wow.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm processing what you're saying. I had no idea it all came out when you saw a picture of a drone in a magazine and you ordered a kit.
Yeah, and that adventure has landed me where I am today, pursuing cybersecurity. Because if you really look at it, I was on the CompTIA Drone Advisory Board for a little bit, and CompTIA is a certifying body for all the IT computer geeks. And what you don't realize is a drone is a literal flying computer.
Hmm.
It's a computer making sure that it goes and does what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
Because it's a flying computer and we're looking at doing some work with the government, it's like, well, you got to get this certified, that certified. I was like, that's too dang expensive. How do I do it myself? Well, diving into that, how do I lock down my drone? Because my drones aren't like your typical DJIs that you would purchase in a store. Mine are 6 feet in diameter, custom built, custom everything. We've patented cargo systems, the whole nine yards for my drones. And by locking down the computer on board so nobody can hack it, tamper with it, it had to be DoD compliant, started me down the path of cybersecurity and understanding what could be done, how it could be done, and having stuff in the cloud to share with my team,
Hmm.
understanding that it may be secure in transit, going from my hard drive to the cloud, but is my stuff encrypted and secure in the cloud? Not necessarily,
Hmm.
depending on the service. So that means somebody like Dropbox could look at your information that could
Hmm.
be proprietary to your business. I
Yep.
don't know if you do that. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Okay.
So once I understood that, I was quite uh, upset and scared that my information could be out there.
Hmm.
I had the curiosity
And the
to
courage.
build my own server.
There you go.
I have my own server now. Not only do I have my own server, I no longer use Dropbox because I host my own.
Okay.
I host my
Interesting.
own Dropbox. I
Interesting.
host my own virtual machines. I have a very secure network at home now, which is nothing in the cloud. It's all internal to myself. And
Hmm.
understanding that allowed me to deep and dive further into cybersecurity and understanding what the ones and zeros do. How does, TCP, UDP, all that stuff works, how our transmission and communication works right now. And understanding that will allow me to better secure not only my own infrastructure for my drones, but will also allow me to help other individuals that are not just in the UAV space and the upcoming advanced air mobility, basically air taxis.
Hmm.
Um, I have the expertise on the drone side and then the cybersecurity side that'll allow me to secure my space, but it'll allow me to help others secure their space to keep us all safer. Could you imagine being in an air taxi, getting it hacked, and all of a sudden you're in it and
No,
it's
no,
all,
nope. By the way, we're going to add cautious and caring to your yes,
no, thank you.
cautious and caring to your superpowers. I
So those are the things, those things keep me up at night, especially knowing what I know of drone technology, which we have seen it, drone technology just being this hey, guess what? We're flying around to being utilized in many different ways that we saw coming.
For good. Do you
Yeah,
do you sleep? Do you sleep? Speaking of keeping, do you sleep at all? I think I asked this of Chuck Byers, he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and I think he has
I,
137 patents now.
yeah, I know Chuck, and Chuck and
Yeah.
I are like,
Yeah, of course you do.
yeah, and because I work with Chuck, and he works with Valkyrie and Valkyrie and Ryan, the group.
Yep.
Um, yeah, there's just things that keep me up at night, or how do I better the world? How do I make things safer, better? I come from a background of being in the military. However, I was on the
Mhm.
medical side. We're
Mhm.
looking to save lives.
Yep.
I can see what bad things I've seen bad things happen. How can I help mitigate those? How can I make those
Mhm.
things better? Because you're only here once. And, the thing in my house growing up was if you borrow something, you better return it better than when you borrow it.
Oh, I like that. I have to call a few people now. I think caring is your primary superpower. What I was going to ask was, do you sleep at all? Do you sleep well? I know a lot's keeping you up at night because your mind is always working, but do you sleep? Do you dream drones? Can I ask that?
Do I dream drones? I dream everything.
I've never
Actually,
asked that question.
I had a partial dream last night is we were doing this, and somehow I figured out by my voice over a microphone how to hack somebody or something. It was the craziest thing. It was like a Jason Bourne kind of deal. It was crazy.
Starring in your own movie. Tell me
Yeah.
something. I want to go to, do you believe in Do you believe in New Year's resolutions or yay or nay? And if you do you keep them? Do you keep them for any period of time?
Uh, yes and no.
Okay, go ahead.
My New Year's resolutions aren't your typical, I'm going to do XYZ and boom, done. I starting around November, December of the previous year, I start to map out what my next year is going to be.
Okay.
And I set milestones on, okay, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And well, this goes back to my book. So I kind of go through this thing that I learned in the military. It's called a SMEAC. Okay.
Okay.
MEAC. Situation, mission, execution. Um, oh God, what's my A? Uh,
Action?
no, 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 no. Administration. Whew.
Okay.
Administration, then command and control. I always forget
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
And so it could be, simple situation. All right, this is where I'm at today. This is my income. I want to do more next year. The mission,
Mm-hmm.
how are we going to make that new amount? How am I going to execute that? Well, here's the plan to execute that. How do I need to keep track of that, administer that? Am I going to have a spreadsheet? Am I going to do electronic? Am I going to do it by hand? And then command and control. Who's responsible for all this stuff? Who do I need to report to? And I kind of do that framework and assessment in my life to go, what do I
Mm-hmm.
want to do next year? And then I kind of set out the goalposts. And for me, the most important part is the execution part,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of boils down to that math geek formula I was telling you about earlier. It's knowledge plus action, and you put those in parentheses,
Mm-hmm.
put the exponent of faith on that,
Okay.
and you take that and you multiply that by wisdom.
Ooh.
So if you have knowledge, if you know how to tie a shoe, but you don't tie it, well, guess what? It ain't getting tied.
Mm-hmm. And you
You
could
got to
trip
take action.
and fall.
You got to take the action of tying a
Yep.
shoe.
Okay.
Now, the exponent of faith is, well, guess what? If I don't believe that I can tie the shoe, nothing's going to happen.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So you have to have a little bit of faith, at least the faith that
Yeah.
you can do it,
Okay.
or be the faith of that somebody has faith in you, or
Okay.
whatever gets you going. And then if you take that and you garner that with the wisdom of the ages, a person, outside of you, you add, and that formula is equal to success.
Okay.
So knowledge plus action, according to your faith, tempered with wisdom, equals success. Now, if you draw that out mathematically, it's the weirdest thing. Lord only knows how I got this. It was out of a dead sleep. Mathematically it works.
I'm
Because,
I'm delighted.
because if you know your order of operations, PEMDAS, parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Well, you got to work out the parentheses first. Well, knowledge plus action.
I'm so much less disciplined than you are, but I just wake up and say, I have an idea. I started this We Dish Saucy Dames with three of my friends I know from my radio show, from my tech show. And then I said, well, I want to talk to men too. I think men have a lot of knowledge. I want to share that. And I talked to somebody and said, what do I call the guys? Guys, pals, buddies, dudes. And we came up with dames and dudes. And then I started that. And you're I think my 19th or 20th. But I didn't think about the wisdom and the action. I just wake up and I say, I have an idea and I design a background and I start inviting people. So I'm much more on the casual side. Do I fit your paradigm? Do I fit your formula at all,
Absolutely.
Fouts?
Absolutely, because I do that. I
Okay.
absolutely I do that. So, for instance, I was interested in cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know nothing about it. Let me get some knowledge. Well, I had to have one, faith in myself to get the knowledge. So, okay.
Yep.
So I went and took action and got the knowledge. Well, the
Okay.
more knowledge I acquired, the more action I was able to take, and the
Okay.
more myself. And then I acquired mentors within the space, which is the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do the math and you take that formula, you put the math in and you put numbers in, it actually mathematically works. It's the craziest thing.
Well, you can send me a formula for this show. I want to ask you. I do planning. I do ideation. I do things that they used to call that brainstorming. What would appeal to me? Where do I want to put my energy? No more resolutions. They don't work. So we have your cool dude plan. Sounds like you do this every year. You do this starting November, you said. But
November.
I want to know, what's the title of your book? Do you have a working title yet?
Yes, it's called enabled. Um,
Ooh,
and then okay, so I've got the cover. It's enabled, and the ABLE is reddish, and the other letters are in black because the ABLE is achieving business and life excellence.
I love it. Do you have a copy of it you could show us, a preview?
Um, you know, I
Would you
have
like to?
where do I have is that on my iPad?
You
Let
want to
me
think about I don't want to derail our conversation, but I would love to see it if you're willing to share it. Is this a first, a world breaking news?
I have a few people that know about this.
Okay, I'd be honored.
Let's
Woohoo.
see if I can, is that the
We
right
have
piece?
we have one person watching us on who's watching us? Somebody's watching us on Facebook. For this person, you're going to get a world preview of Founce's book cover. We love our live viewers. Don't go away, whoever you are. Thank you very much. What have we got?
Okay, let's see. Reveal in Finder.
Oh,
Let's see.
yeah, I know how that works.
Is that it is the correct one. Um,
Okay. I have to unshare. Hold on. I've got the sharing tied up here. Okay, you can share now. Go ahead.
okay. And
They left. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it's yellow.
yeah, it's yellow. Yeah. That's the book cover.
Very nice. And you don't use any accents on the final E, je ne sais,
I do.
in
I do.
your
This was the quick mock-up and
Okay, very pretty. Formula, framework and formula to help you create a life you love. I love the word love in there and life excellence. Beautiful. Did you design that background? I see the person on
yeah,
the mountaintop.
yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can I ask what you designed it in?
Canva.
Very nice.
Started in Canva and then I took it to Photoshop to adjust some things.
That's what I do. Well, I start in Night Cafe Studio and then I go in Photoshop. That's how I do my designs for my radio show, my show backgrounds. Thank you. That's lovely. I'm feel very privileged. Now we're in the wrong position here. There we go. Okay. Zoom usually puts me on top of the guest or underneath after we do a visual there. I want to go to a couple of other topics. We're moving along here. Okay, big question. This is really important. Coffee or tea, brewed or instant, calf, decaf, half calf, homemade, Starbucks, tea bag, tea leaves, latte, espresso, cappuccino, quantity, quality, mug or cup. How do you like it? What do you like to drink? How often? And are you a caffeine person? I'm not. There you go.
Uh,
There's the question.
all right, coffee and tea. We'll start there.
Okay.
Oh. Let's see. Coffee. I was I spent 3 weeks in Costa Rica.
Ooh.
Spoiled to death. A good friend of mine owned a home down there. Spent a good portion of that 3 weeks down at his house. And
Mm.
the coffee plantation was right next door.
Wow.
Fresh coffee, old school. You basically, the best way to describe it, and if you know this way of making coffee, you'll know what I mean. It's almost like a cloth sock. You grind the beans, put the beans, and you just pour over. And black and beautiful. That's how I like my coffee. That's it. Just
I
like me.
can't I can't do I'm just going to leave that one alone. But yes,
Yes.
I'll just say yes. I went to Cancun to Club Med many years ago, and I could do caffeine in those days. And they had, I'm just going to call it Mexican coffee. I don't know what else to call it. And it was on the table at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it was in pitchers.
Mhm.
I must have had 10 cups a day. It was, in addition to the phenomenal food, just phenomenal food. I fell in love with that coffee. It's a cross between really, really dark roast and cocoa.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I have never been able to replicate that. Now I can't tolerate any caffeine, so I'm a peppermint tea drinker, herbal, and I even try to get my Earl Grey decaf, believe it or not. I can't have any caffeine because I'll be flying off the ceiling. You say, "Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" Scrape her off the ceiling. So and it makes me sad because I loved good coffee, but once in a while my son-in-law makes wonderful cappuccino and he decorates it with the foam and it's beautiful. And once in a while I'll just splurge on one of those when I visit them and I'll deal with the caffeine later. But that coffee, Founts, I have to tell you, was magical. It was just the most, it was just delicious. It was just like today I drink milk and I drink water and peppermint flavored cold tea. Coffee was the thing. So, and I like the way you talked about the beans and with the sock and all that. So do you make it at home that way now?
Absolutely. Came
Ooh,
home from Costa Rica with the actual
how many cups a day?
two, three, maybe four right now.
I thought so. Okay, let's go to entertainment, movies, TV. What are your genre preferences? Drama, fantasy, musical, romance, mystery, comedy, sci-fi, thriller, war. You have any favorite actors or actresses? Talk to me. What do you got?
Oh, love a good film noir.
Mm-hmm.
Love a great. I've always been a James Bond fan. You know, the spy stuff. That's
Yep.
the kid in me. Jason Bourne action. Um, uh, Movies like Schindler's List as well. Heart-touching, warm. Some of my favorite actors: Denzel, my man. Morgan Freeman, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brad Pitt just doesn't do it for me for some reason. I don't know why.
What doesn't do it for you?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Okay. What about Tom Cruise? What about Top Gun?
I like the concept of the movie. The movie's
Yeah.
I appreciated Val Kilmer more than I did Tom
Okay.
Cruise, the first one.
What
Um,
about actresses? Any favorite female actors?
I would Sarah Paulson.
Mm-hmm.
Just the different characters and just
Interesting choice. Yeah.
um of course I'm gonna love my Halle Berry. I mean,
I knew I was waiting for that.
and Um, and for some reason, I just don't see what everybody else sees about Gal Gadot. I just don't.
Well, she made a good Superwoman, right? For a while there, or yeah.
So I just no. Um, Audrey Hepburn. Uh,
Oh, we're
I,
talking classic beauty
I
and
love.
sophistication.
I'm a little biased. My girl, she's got that classic beauty about her, and I just love
Hmm.
that classic beauty and sophistication. Um, it really wasn't. Oh, I mean, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, the Road
Oh,
Pig,
yep.
mad love for those. Mad love. And he wasn't an actor, but one of the best crooners of all time. And I just loved how he presented himself in that genre. Nat King Cole.
Oh, well, we're talking classic here, aren't we?
Yeah. They don't
Did you
make,
like Natalie Cole too?
yeah, she was good.
Yeah.
Good. They
The
don't
du
make
the
like they.
duet they dubbed together
Oh,
was
that was really cool. I really appreciate
unforgettable. Yeah, unforgettable.
that.
Oh,
My theme song.
yeah.
Name me once you can't forget me.
I would like
Pretty bad.
I would like to think I am too. I have a feeling, but I'm not sure why. We'll leave that one alone. My
Yeah.
favorite, I told you, my favorite genre is police detective procedurals, mostly in the French language. I used to speak fairly fluent when I was studying and when I was lived in Switzerland for a month way back in the day, and I lived with a Swiss French family, and I was fluent enough that they were admiring my idioms that I learned from my French teacher in New York, which was quite a thrill. And I love to speak the French language a little bit that I can and now, and I love to hear it. And I'm always disturbed when I'll watch a French show that's made in France or any French speaking country or region, and it's overdubbed with English voices. And I will avoid those. There's a series called Murder In, where I think they're 90-minute shows, and it takes place, it's a murder in some remote part of France, and it's picturesque, and you get to see all the landscapes and the regions, and it's lovely. And it's always a story about, the lead detective was married to the other one, or that's his sister, or that was somebody who used to live with his mother. And there's always some kind of personal interaction of the characters. And the same actors show up in so many of them. And I know him. I'll look him up. Oh, he was in Candice Renault. Oh, he was in this one. Oh, he was in Alice in Devers. Oh, and I love that. But they have a set of those that is English overdubbed fans, and I will avoid that like the plague. So I'll watch Art of the Crime, Lar du Crime. She's an art expert, and he's a cop who knows nothing about art. And when she's trying to figure out who committed a particular crime involving famous art at the Louvre, she works at the Louvre, she will imagine the original artist in her head talking to her about what he had in mind when he did the painting or when she did the painting. So you'll see a scene of Van Gogh or Degas, and in their supposedly original garb, an actor in her mind, and you'll see them on the screen talking to her. And then she'll figure out what that painting meant to the murder or what the criminal had in mind.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's just and it's in French. It's lovely. But there's a very funky series I discovered the other night. It's kind of strange, called Escort Boys. I won't say too much more other than it's in some kind of French. I don't know where, and they dubbed it in English. And I see a lot of the actors from the other shows, and it's so weird to see English voices coming out of their mouths because I know better and I know how beautifully they speak. So we'll leave that. I'll tell you later how that show goes. Anyway, so those are my favorites. I can't watch movies alone, and I'm living alone now, and movies make me way too nostalgic, and I don't like to cry alone, so I stay away from movies. But I love the detective shows, the adventures, and I think they're a lot of just interesting to me. That's the way the Europeans see the genre and the quirky lead females. That's what I like. A show with a quirky lead female character. That's what I like.
Like
And
that.
nobody would believe they could solve the murder. And they see things, they smell things, they see things, they hear things that nobody else. What were you going to say?
I've recently found a series of different English detective shows where it's a quirky lead female.
Yeah?
I like that because typically it's always the male-driven,
Yeah. Yep.
not, and so it's been really cool.
Good. Good. Maybe we'll share some later. Back and forth. You can send me some of yours. I'll send you some of mine. Okay. It's time for the wacky say what stories. You want to share? You can share anything visual. I have some visuals I'm going to share with you. One, you do one, then I'll do one. You do one, I one, then we'll wrap.
I came across this story. I'm just
Yes.
like, what?
He's laughing. He's laughing. What's so funny?
PETA wants Punxsutawney Phil replaced with a weather reveal cake on Groundhog Day.
You got to say that again because I can't believe you said it. Do you have a picture?
Yeah, I have the article right. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
go
the,
ahead. Share it. Let's see.
oh my goodness. Sure.
Share's open.
Boom.
Not yet.
Share. There we go.
Okay, let's see it. Oh,
PETA wants Punxsutawney Phil replaced with weather reveal cake on Groundhog Day.
you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding.
Joke.
Is this a joke article or is this true?
Oh, it's legit. There's a video and everything. It's just really, you're letting the groundhog out of a cage and
Exploited groundhog.
yeah.
There are no words. Thank you. That's as wacky. Say, all right, stop sharing. I want to share one of mine. I have one for you that I think you're going to like. I shared it on the show a couple weeks ago, but I've saved it and I'm bringing it back for you. So let me do a share here. And I'm going to go to screen and number one screen and here. Okay. Vance, they're putting in polka dot glass patterns to keep birds from colliding with windows. Are you aware of this? Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, matter of fact, when I was in Costa Rica, the wildlife is just so beautiful there, and there's so much that they literally uh, put treatments on their windows so birds don't crash into the windows.
This is this is an article from the director of the American Bird Conservancy. In 2023, they positioned McCormick Place Convention Center in Chicago, which is covered with glass, and it's a major migratory corridor for birds. 1,000 birds died from colliding in the building in one day. So they have a company in 2024 called Feather Friendly. It installs bird-friendly window deterrents on residential and commercial buildings. It's bird-safe film with a polka dot formation, the equivalent of two football fields worth of windows. It disrupts the reflection of the glass, making it easier for birds to detect and avoid, and they've dropped the bird collision deaths by 95%. What do you think? Cool?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I thought
Um,
you'd enjoy that one. I'm going to stop sharing and we can look at one of yours now. Go ahead.
Really cool. I learned that when I went to Costa Rica. I was like, what is all these?
Yeah.
And it's true. The
Oh, yeah.
reflection.
Yep. By the way, since I moved into this house in Tennessee, there's a bird. It might be the same one that comes on my second bedroom. It's unused. I have a little day bed in there and a lot of my artwork on the walls. My drum supplies are in the closet there. It's a very pretty room. It's just not used. This bird comes and takes the outside windowsill, outside the window, and jumps up against the glass. And he'll do it, bat, bat, and I can hear the noise all over the house. He never hurts himself. He hasn't, but he's been doing this for over 2 years, even in winter weather, mostly in the springtime. And I've actually sat on this daybed and videoed him, and he'll walk over here and he'll go, pop, 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 and he jumps at least 12 inches or more high against the glass, and his little what do you call them? Those little feet, whatever,
Yeah.
the nails will hit and I can hear him sitting here in my office broadcasting. I'm hearing click, click, click. And I say, oh, he's back. I'll go in and talk to him and say, hey, there's nobody here for you. And he doesn't know any better. And he's come back in the past couple weeks in the bitter, bitter cold, Vance. And he's not hurt. And he must have some relatives, but I think it's just one bird, basically. What do you think? One bird?
Yeah, it could be. I know, let's see, with hummingbirds, they came back and nest at the same place year after year after year.
He
So
thinks he sees himself in the window, though. You think I should put some polka dots? I could put polka dots on a piece of paper and put them.
I would put polka dots just to see what if it helps.
I'll get I'll put some saran wrap in and I'll take a blue magic marker and I'll make dots and I'll put it against the window.
That's
Try
funny with
getting that off the window. Go ahead.
animal stories today.
Yeah. What's your next one?
There's a sunfish that began ailing after aquarium closes
Oh,
in Japan. And the aquarium had closed down, and apparently the sunfish
no.
not feeling well. And then they put cutouts of people, and it started doing better again, which is
Lonely.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh. How long what did they know what the ailment was and how long it took to recover?
Um, it was the aquarium closed for renovation. Uh,
Okay.
and however, they put these cardboard cutouts of people, and the fish
Oh,
started eating again, and what have you.
I love that. Thank you.
That cool?
That's very cool. That's caring and committed and courageous and curious and everything that defines you. Wow. Okay, I want to do my second one. There we go. Let me go back to the share screen here and let's see what we've got. I'm going back to screen. And my second one is, oh, this is when rotary phones could still be found in households in 1992. Phones that was what, 30, 25, 30, 33 years ago?
Wow.
22-year-old engineer Neil Papworth. Okay, you ready for this? Let me see it. First SMS text message. Neil Papworth made history by pressing send on a now ubiquitous form of communication. He used his personal computer and a Vodafone network to transmit the world's first SMS text messages in two simple words. What do you think of that?
Hello, world.
Hello, where I'm waiting to see what the he worked for a now defunct IT service company that was developing messaging service, and the big moment was part of a day's work. It didn't feel momentous at all. I had no idea the first text was going to snowball eventually into this thing we call today. Isn't it funny they don't say what it was? They don't say what it was. I'm sure it's two simple words. Did I leave the text in here? It did. It's coming up on my other screen, and now I have to agree to terms of use. And let's see. First text message was, you're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. Let me bring it over here. It was Merry Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Merry Christmas. That was the text message. Interesting?
That's cool.
I'm going to stop because it's playing some audio there. Interesting. Merry Christmas. Okay, so that's my second one. Let's go back. And what have you got now?
All right. I'm a I'm nostalgic. I'm a romantic too, so this was kind of cool. I thought this was really neat. They finally got their wedding photos 56 years after their big
I
day.
read that story. Go ahead. I didn't read it, but I put it in my collection. Tell me about it. What happened?
Barry and Margaret, they were married in 1968. Um, and they had their photographer, they're Canadians, and they posed for all these photos in the whole 9 yards. And lo and behold, it kind of just they didn't have the money to pay for the photos at the time. And
No.
the studio, and somehow they got a hold of the originals guy, and they got their photos, their wedding photos. It was crazy, just really cool. They got
Wow.
they were stunned, and they got their 56 years later. I can only imagine. I
They
think
didn't have cell phones back 56 years ago to take pictures, did they?
it's really cool that they were married 56 years.
I know.
Don't last 6 months these
I
days.
have I have friends who've been married that long.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Not us.
Uh, I didn't do, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, mine was not that long. Anyways, it
I
is
have
what.
I have one more to share, and this is a little very interesting, I think. Okay, this is why is it called a grandfather clock? Do you have any idea? Do you know the history?
I do tell.
Okay. It has little to do with family or how old they are, whether they have Werther's candy sitting in a dish next to them. It was originally called a tall case or a long case clock. Let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger so people have an idea what we're talking about. It was housing for pendulum timekeeping, back and forth, not what they do on stage in the magic shows. It was invented in the mid 17th century by an astronomer and physicist called Christian Huygens, Huygens. It was more accurate than the spring-driven timekeeping that people were using in the day. London time clockmakers found out that this was very popular, so they started selling them a lot. First of all, for their aesthetics, it's attractive, and second, the accuracy. Well, the name change occurred 2 centuries later because there was a song called Grandfather's Clock by an American composer found named Henry Clay Work, Work. He went to England. He became fascinated by a clock in the hotel lobby that was broken. It's an apocryphal story, maybe not true, that the clock belonged to the two former hotel owners and it stopped working when they died. This reminds me of the story you said about the aquarium, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It got sick when it got started to get off its game when people disappeared. He wrote the lyrics about a long case clock that stopped working after a grandfather's passing. Here's the song. I won't sing it. I don't know the melody. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a pennyweight more. It was bought on the morn of the day that he was born, and was always his treasure and pride. But it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. And the chorus is 90 years without slumbering, tick, 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 his life seconds numbering, tick, 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 tick. It stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. In watching its pendulum swing to and fro, many hours had he spent while a boy, and in childhood and manhood the clock seemed to know and to share both his grief and his joy. For it struck 24 when he entered at the door with a blooming and beautiful bride, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. So the song called, you ready for this? It sold 1 million copies of sheet music, Founts. 1 million copies. And it changed the name of the long case clock to the grandfather's clock. By 1883, clockmakers and sellers in print ads were calling it the grandfather clock. Isn't that a charming story?
Oh. And by the way, I just looked it up.
Yep.
Johnny Cash covered that song.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Very interesting. Talk about modern times, old times, new times. There we go. Well, that's the end of my agenda. Do you have anything? I have really enjoyed learning about how you do what you do. I love the story about seeing a drone in a magazine. Seriously. Kids,
Oh,
read. Kids, be curious. Kids, have courage. Kids, take your curiosity and your courage and make a commitment and care and take action and be faithful that you have confidence. Have I missed any words there, fans?
no, you nailed it. Especially just be curious. I
Be
mean,
curious.
be curious in life.
I
Uh,
would say have the courage to be curious. People say, "Oh, did you do your homework, Johnny?" Okay, well, read pages 15 through 32. There'll be a test tomorrow. But what about page 33? Maybe he's curious.
Here's the thing.
Yep.
So many people will tell you that you can't do something or another, and you really have to discern, do they really know what they're talking about? Have they done X, Y, and Z? Do they have any authority in that area? And 90% of the time, they don't. So listen, hear them out, thank you, then go on your merry way and analyze what they told you. Do
Yep.
they have authority in that area? Have they experienced whatever you're trying to do? Do they have wisdom in that area? And if the answer is no, don't listen what they have to tell you. And then find somebody who knows what they're talking about so they can mentor you. Because too many people stop short of fulfilling their dreams when people go, "Ah, that's never going to work." How do you know? Have you done it? No, but I just know it's not. You know, well, like you said, I never sleep. I have another venture that just started, too soon to talk about. And, I've spoken to key people and they're like, "Oh, that'll work. This will only happen. That'll only happen. Have you done it?" Well, no, but I know somebody who's did it. Well, if you
Mm.
didn't do it, then why am I listening to you? I'm not. I'm going to press forward.
Yep.
So when it comes back down to my mantra, my saying to myself, dream big dreams, dare to be great, do it,
Do it.
do it. And oh, if you there's a book, Life is Tremendous by Charlie Tremendous Jones.
That's a
So,
name.
yeah, that's his nickname, Charlie Tremendous Jones. Personal development speaker from I think the 60s, 70s. Anyways, he's got a book. It's a short read. Life is Tremendous by Charlie Tremendous Jones. Pick it up. It's a well worth reading, and it'll kind of frame you to just move forward in life because that's one of the books I read, and that kind of propelled me along.
Thank you. I think just people listening to and seeing you here with me today will propel them forward in life. You're an inspiration.
You're too kind. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, I'm just telling the truth. I love the energy. And as far as finding people to mentor and all that, sometimes you just need to go to that magazine, order that kit, build the drone yourself, figure it out, and invite the right people into your vision and build it from scratch.
And
And
but
then you become a mentor, right?
absolutely try. That's so true. I gotta mention this. The best way to learn something is by doing it. And when you fail, be happy about it because you just learned something.
Yep. That's what people say. They learn more from their failures than they do from their successes. Because once you're successful, you're flying on the laurels, right? Look, I did it. How wonderful. How great. I'm so happy. I'm such a success. And then you may not pay attention to what's going to whoop, pull you down or you could have done better. So, yeah,
Nope. It's
learn learn the lessons. Founce, Genesee. It's been lovely. Stick around. We'll talk for a minute. I'm going to start we went offline for a minute there. That's why I was looking over at my screen. All of a sudden it said offline, then the streaming came back. So we might be in two pieces on YouTube. I have to go see, but that would have been just the last 5 minutes. So we're good. So I'm going to play the outro music and credit to Serge Huffman who I met through SAP, and he left us. He's retired now, and he is writing music. He writes beautiful music, digital music, but not through AI. Real, and opera singers and quartets and trios and orchestras in Paris are playing his music, and his music has been used by Cirque du Soleil founts and some movie soundtracks. But I wrote this song, So You Want to Be, and Serge wrote the music and he does the singing. He told me he's going to make another version, so we'll see what that's like, but not yet. So here we go. Let's do the outro here, and then we will just talk for a minute. Here we go. Got it?
So you wanna be
So you want to be
a
a cool kid,
hanging with the insect,
hanging with the insect,
looking real,
looking real,
cool and fine.
cool and fine.
Asking you faking,
No faking that here. We're the real deal. Here we
So
go.
you wanna be
Ready for the bridge? Come on, pretend you're playing. Bop, 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 bop. Thank you very much. Thank you to Serge Founts at Genesee. It's